What's going on out there, Junkies? It's your boy Kenshiro. We're back in another great episode of Culture Junkies Live. Today, you guessed right, we're going to be talking all about Joker. Our reactions to it. Is this movie great? Is it overhyped? Was it just okay? We'll also address a little bit of the not the controversy, but the comments from legendary film director Martin Scorsese in reaction to the Marvel Cinematic Universe and whether or not they are cinema. Joining me on the show today are my good friends, the Great Adakuji GQ and Fallen Marvel. How you doing, guys?
We are, at least I am. I'm great. Oh, gotta put this down. Headroom's all weird. Headroom's all weird. Sorry, everybody.
It's all good. What's up, fellas? What's up, GQ?
Not too much. Just over here and enjoying life and enjoying life. And then that Akuma remix somewhat could be better.
It could be better. You could do better?
Yeah. Well, Akuma's track on its own is already good, but when you mess it up with bad drum and bass, then yeah, it doesn't really work.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Fallen Marvel, you hanging in there?
Yes, I am over here living my best life right now. I'm in a good mood tonight.
Oh, that's good. That's good. You should be ready to talk about the controversy that is Joker and all the stuff that surrounds it. You know, I'm sure you've been paying attention to all of the comments on the interwebs and everybody's reaction to everything.
Yeah, I've been keeping my ear to the madness of it all, so
right,
definitely interested in giving my 2, 3, 4, and 5 cents.
Bet. Okay. So honestly, besides the Joker news, some pretty exciting news for PlayStation fans came out earlier. I think just yesterday. The official announcement of the PlayStation 5 has taken place. Some sparse details, but we know it's going to be coming out holiday 2020. What's you guys' thoughts on it, and what do you hope was going to be in it, or going to be on PlayStation 5?
Well, it's definitely going to. I could see it definitely porting over. What is it? Ghost of Tsushima, Final Fantasy VII remake, among others. And if it was any truth to that tech demo, they did at the Tokyo Game Show. I forgot how long ago, whatever. Then
I think it was last year, not this past TGS, but the one before that.
Well, it might have been something different. It might not have been Tokyo Game Show now that I think about it, but I know it was this year. But
okay.
if there's any weight to what they were showing, it's gonna be a pretty powerful machine. So I'm kind of looking forward to see how it performs, what other games that they are planning on putting on it. Definitely looking forward to whatever Insomnia brings. I'm kind of hoping they make a new Infamous, but we'll see. So that's definitely a game I would love to see on the PS5. Just a massive game. Like, I would love to see a brand new Infamous.
Well, if what they say is true, they're probably not going to do the remakes like they did for the PlayStation 3 to the PlayStation 4, because if the PlayStation 5 is backwards compatible with the PlayStation 4, from which I heard it is, then games are supposed to just play better. They're talking about the increased resolution, faster frame rates, not frame rates, but probably frame rates and
it's
call it loading times. So
it's supposed to perform way better. That's what I was actually meant. I mean, like, literally, like, port over the way they did PS3 and PS4. So
that's annoying as shit, because I bought a lot of PlayStation 3 games that I didn't get a chance to play, and then they came out again on PlayStation 4, and I'm like, mother.
Devil May Cry, hello. The Devil May Cry HD remake, yes, hello.
Why would they do that? Why would they put whatever? Why?
Because it's Capcom.
Of course, Capcom don't make nothing.
Crapcom, whatever acronym you want to use.
5 though, which I haven't got yet. I'm on purpose, but for me, looking forward to the PlayStation 5. I want it to be more than just PlayStation 4 backwards compatible. I'm sorry. I personally, this is just my whole thing. I want it to be backwards compatible from all the PlayStations because they established that. I hate that they killed it with the 4. I think they should have kept it alive. I wish they would have did what Microsoft did, that you pop your game in there and it just downloads the damn thing. And you can't play that downloadable copy without the game, the disc being in there.
Now, what was I reading? Speaking of that, what was I reading about them saying something about you have to have the disc in there in order to download a digital game? Like, are they trying to do something funky with digital games?
Are you talking about, because what Microsoft does is anything that's Xbox 360 and Xbox is not playing off the disc. You literally pop it in there and it downloads the ROM, if you will, because it is emulated. The Xbox One is emulating the original Xbox in the 360. So when you pop it in there, it just downloads it off the internet. Okay. And you can't play it unless you have that disc in there. So they kind of treating it more like a traditional PC game, like on discs, to where it's like you install it, but like the game won't run without the disc. Without the disc, yeah. So that's why I wish Sony would have done the same thing, because you got huge back catalogs. I understand some of the things you need licensing for, and that would be an issue because that's why a lot of games didn't come for the. Excuse me, got them hiccups. That's why a lot of games didn't come out on the Xbox One, whereas the 360 was backwards compatible with the original Xbox, just natively. It was like it basically had a, in there. I mean, it was still kind of emulated, but it didn't download it. It did play it off the disc. It didn't install anything like that. So in that aspect, it makes things difficult, because say you want to play a game that's a licensed game and you can't, because there are Xbox original games that you can't do that with. So, so I kind of get the way Xbox or Microsoft is doing it. I hate that Sony didn't do that. I just wish they would, because there's a lot of games, PlayStation 1, 2, and 3 on the Play Store that you can download at any time. You can download and play. I'm not rebuying any of that stuff, because if I already got it, what's the point? And it gets really difficult trying to get stuff in good resolution. Like, I'm glad I still got my backwards compatible PlayStation 3, but I wish when I was in Japan, I just picked up a PlayStation 3 over there instead of a PlayStation 2. I don't know what I was thinking, because had I done that, I was looking for a PlayStation 2 and I found one, but I should have got a PlayStation 3 and I should have tried to find a fat PlayStation 3 and then just
That's what you know what? I think even over there, they're probably extremely hard to find now.
It could be. I mean, I had a hard time finding a PlayStation 2, dude. I went to that Super Potato that was very popular, picked up a translucent blue PlayStation 2 that I wanted, and the guy told me it was broken. I was just like, crap, that sucked. Wow. And then I went to a store, was just walking around. This store reminds me of Best Buy. And I was just walking around, and then some dude in English, really good English, like, "Can I help you find anything?" And I was just like, "Yeah."
Like he didn't have no hint of accent, or like
he had a little bit of accent, but it was still good English. Like, it wasn't heavy or thick, or it just was really good English. And I was just like, "Oh, well, if you don't mind, I'm trying to find a PlayStation 2." And he was like, "I'll be right back." And he left and came back, and a PlayStation 2 in the box, and it was a slim PlayStation 2. In the box with all the stuff in it, even though it was used, he still had all the and he said somebody just traded it in not too long ago, and I was like,
traded it in. Wow, that boy got some miles on it.
Didn't even work for he was a guy running the cell phone kiosk.
About being at the right place at the right time.
Right. Here's the thing, though. If they do the backwards compatible, that's fine, and I've said this since day one. It better not affect any future proofing of the hardware that's in there. Like, I don't want to see no sacrifices to get backwards compatibility to work for my games for the PS5. So if that becomes the caveat of like, oh, well, we got to trim it down a little bit on the 5 in order to get the PS1 and 2 stuff working right. No, hell no. You better get all of that stuff working, or drop the backwards compatibility and give me the most powerful thing you can put out. That's my.
I can agree with that. I mean, I get it. That. I get it. It's just you've seen my freaking setup down here. It's just
of course.
A butt to have.
No, I got you. I mean, I completely understand, because I'm with you on that 100% in the sense of damn it, I don't really want to have to pull out the PS2 if I want to go back and play like Capcom SNK 2 the best possible way, because that was one of the better versions of it versus some of the ports that have come out. But at the same time, I'll take that little bit of inconvenience if it doesn't mean that, like, oh, okay, well, yeah, some of the games ain't gonna be 4K because the graphics card we had to put in there wasn't gonna be compatible to work with some of the old stuff. It's like, no, hell no. F the old stuff if that's gonna be the case. Like, I want, like, when this system comes out, I don't want to hear 3 years from now or 3 years from when it comes out, oh yeah, we about to come out with the PS5 Expert Pro. No, hell no. Max that thing out right now. I don't give a damn. And for real, like, and now granted, I don't want another PS3 thing either, where the thing costs $700, and this is like, oh hell no, ain't nobody buying this thing either. So if you got to hit your $500 or $400 price point, cool, but it better be the most powerful $500 or $400 thing on the market when it drops. Because I ain't trying to hear a pro edition or, like, look, try and do your slim thing, because we all know what's going to happen. Right. It's going to get slimmed down again. Yeah. But that slim better just be the same thing again, just smaller, not, oh yeah, the pro version's coming out, like, in about 3 years. Well, hell no.
Yeah,
I'm done with that.
Oh man, so we got a whole lot of viewers, it seems like, but not a whole lot of chatters, man. I don't know what's up. You guys are normally more chatty than this. What's going on? But anyway, so one of the things I guess I'm hoping that they do, I hope they don't abandon PSVR, because I'm very much looking forward to getting into that. I still might get one for my PlayStation 4 Pro. I haven't got one yet, but I've been wanting to get one.
I thought they already said that's already in there. That's already good to go.
Oh yeah, like is it just going to carry over? Or they're going to come up with a new set?
No, I'm guaranteed they're coming out with another one. I mean, hell, they've already come out with a second one technically now, but it just doesn't look completely different. But the reality of that is they kind of, if they're going to go with the 4 is going to be backwards compatible right off the bat, they kind of have to make VR backwards compatible too. They almost have no choice on that. And plus, it would be dumb to leave that off. It would, given the fact that it had a rocky start. But now that they've they're coming out with more stuff in the store for it, and Beat Saber and all these various things. So the only issue that they ran into, they didn't future proof it. Like we said, the first version does not work with the Pro directly. You need actually the second version of it, because that has the HDR pass through, because that's the one thing you're not going to get. You don't get your HDR pass through. It'll work, but you won't be able to like see it on the screen. Like, it won't be on your screen, for other people to basically watch what you're doing, so to speak. With the original version doesn't. The newer one supposedly does, and that's part of the reason I almost bought another one, just to have 2 of them. But at the same time, it's like, I may as well just wait for the 5 and see what new version of the VR they come out with, and just get that one.
Have you ever watched movies with that VR? Can you do that? Just like pop it in and watch it?
You can, but I mean, I've never really gotten into that, because for me, it's like the whole thing they're trying to emulate is, oh, you're sitting at the movie theater. It's like, no,
you're not.
You're
not.
Yeah,
it's fine. Like, it's fine if you actually own like 3D Blu-rays. It's cool then, right? Because I actually have a couple, so it's like. Because if you have like the newer models, like they actually have a 3D conversion pass through to where you can watch a 3D Blu-ray in 3D format. So there's that. But
other than
again,
it's man.
It's not really the greatest seller point, because like 3D is kind of like phased out at this
point. So you can watch 3D Blu-rays, because I've got a few from when I had my 3D TV. So you can watch 3D Blu-rays with the VR.
Yep. As long as you got, I'm not sure about the first version of the headset, but the second version of the headset definitely does. So, whenever you start looking, make sure you're getting the second version of it.
Okay, I'll definitely look for that. So Lavelle Davis Sr. echoes you guys' comments. He said, definitely feel you guys on the no new Pro system after 3 years. Hand of Omega says, if PS5 VR works like in Black Mirror, then I'm never leaving out of this. So wait. So this guy, is he going to be playing Striking Vipers X? Is that what he's going to be doing? I mean, you asking for a lot. If that's what you saying you're going to be doing, brother. I think you might want to rethink that stance. You might want to rethink that
I'm straight
stance.
on that, G.
Right.
I'm straight.
Right.
I am straight on that.
Right.
Doing all the banging.
Right. So, for me, because for for VR, I'm looking for games that get me totally immersed. Like, I think I was telling you guys that Wipeout came out. The Wipeout HD finally came out, like, for free on PS4.
Yeah. Wipeout Omega. Yeah.
Like, and it's VR enabled, so I guess you can play the entire game. VR is like sitting in the cockpit. That would be dope. Like, I want to do stuff like that. Where it's totally immersive. I want more Battlefront. I want Battlefront missions where, like, you're totally 3D and you're looking around on the battlefield. It might be some sensory problems that you might have, but flying in an X-wing. Like, when I went over GQ's house and I played the X-wing mission, I was on Battlefront 1. It was great. Right. It was absolutely great.
I mean, it's like, it's really no other way they can, it's like they have nowhere to go but up with all this stuff. Because I mean, it's like just to piggyback off of what GQ was saying, like, I don't want a re-release of the same console, but with this extra feature here. It's like, look, if y'all are going to go balls to the walls with this system, do it on the first go, because I'm gonna be real. Like, the current generation right now has been fairly good, I will say, as far as performance wise, aside from the multiple consoles. But overall, like, the last couple of generations have been kind of tough when it comes to the hardware. Now, the only problem I have with this current one is that they've re-released it like 2 or 3 times, and it's just kind of like, okay, that's 2 or 3 times too much at this point. Like, once, okay, but Microsoft, they did theirs like 4 different times, so it's right. Like, at that point, it's like, okay, look,
the Connect 2, is that we're gonna get something like that?
Goodness. More than likely,
I had to rub that in.
They're probably not even going to.
What a failure that shit was! Oh my god,
it's a shame, because the connector is actually a pretty good peripheral, but it's like they just completely abandoned it, and it's like, it sucks. It's just like, I don't know. Like,
I think it's being used though for not gaming, but for other.
Yeah,
stuff.
It's being used for, like, rehabilitation. I think
they're using it for a lot of stuff. From my understanding,
in the hospitals, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, which is good, but
that part is good. That part is really good. So yeah, we'll see. So anyway, guys, we got a little bit of a viewing audience now, so let's jump right into the topic, which is the Joker movie that came out over the weekend. It's killing the box office, as everyone pretty much thought. There's a school of two thoughts on this movie. There's either you loved it or you hated it. I'm more or less in the middle. If you read my review, shameless plug, on culturejunkies.net, I wrote a review a couple of days ago. It's up there right now. I'll share the link in the chat. But I want to hear you guys' thoughts. Was Joker a great film, or was it overhyped? Let's start with Dido. What did you think of the film?
I liked it, but I liked it because of the film itself, not because of what it was. Like, a lot of people were saying, and I also agree, that this movie literally could have been called anything and still got the same point across, besides him painting his face like a clown and going on but because the movie was focused around him, it wasn't like a multi-character. It didn't really go into anybody else. It was just about Arthur, and showing the it's not really a downfall, because I guess he's always been crazy or whatever, but just like, the things that were leading him up to having a bad day. It was kind of like falling down. I still thought the performance was good. I still thought a lot of stuff was good. One of the things that I wish could have been done was that, see, the thing is because what we know about the Joker is he's this basically kind of like a crime boss for the most part. And I can't see that guy as being a crime boss. I can see him doing crazy ass shit and killing people and doing stuff wacky as well. I can see him doing that most definitely, but not being like the person who people are afraid of, you know, because you just don't know how erratic. I can see how they could move into that, because at the end of the movie, most definitely, you can definitely see how that character, if you use your imagination, mind you, can become some of what we see in the comic books. One of the things that while I was sitting there watching the movie, I said, if this movie, if it was done as a graphic novel back in like the 80s or the 90s, people would have said it's the best damn thing that they have ever come. If not Neil Gaiman, what's that guy's name? The other one of those guys out there, if he would have wrote something like that, there would be no question in people who did not like its mind. They were like, "Oh my gosh, this is great."
Would you be referring to Frank Miller? Is that
maybe Frank Miller's one of those great comic book writers out there? You pick one.
I wouldn't consider him a great comic book writer, but I digress.
Whatever. You pick one.
I digress.
Pick one. Doesn't have to be Frank Miller. It'd be whoever you feel like it. But if somebody would have wrote that exactly how the movie was, where it's from his perspective, showing this guy going through this stuff and becoming the way he is, I think people who did not like the movie probably would have liked the movie, because from just rumblings, they didn't feel like the movie was the Joker. And they're 100% correct, because he was not the Joker until like the last friggin' half hour of the movie. And I think that was the whole point, that he was not supposed to be the Joker for the half hour till that part of the movie, though. I think it would have been kind of cool. And saying that the Todd Phillips is not going to make any more, I really think you could take that Joaquin Phoenix Joker at the end of the movie and throw him in and put him in movies with Batman and all that craziness stuff. They literally could do that. I think they could, because Joaquin Phoenix is a great actor. I think they put some great scripts behind it. They don't have to make it real, because that's more of the realistic side. If everybody noticed who went to go see the movie, this was not a DC film. It was a Warner Brothers film. I mean, it said Warner Brothers, not DC, had nothing to do with DC Comics, even though we all know it has everything to do with DC Comics. I like the movie as a movie. I'm not going to try to compare it to the comic books like I do for a lot of stuff now, because it's not the comic books. We all know the Joker doesn't have an origin story in the comic books besides the one that's in Killing Joke. And they said that's not even really one of his origin. Nobody knows. So it's just, it just is a story. And had that story come out in comic book form, exactly what you saw in that movie as a freaking graphic novel or whatever, people would have been saying that's the best fucking thing that I've ever read or written. So,
okay. Well, I like what Lavelle Davis Sr. said. You know, he said it was okay, but he's wondering why keep making these serious, gloomy comic movies. The performance was great, but it's based on a comic book, so do comic book shit.
I'm going to tell you
in his opinion, anyway.
In his opinion, you know why they're doing gloomy stuff like that? Because I work with a bunch of normies. I'm gonna call them that. They don't watch movies like you and I do. They at all. One of them only watches movies when they're traveling. You go on maybe they'll watch movies occasionally here and there with their kids, but they don't watch movies like we do. They don't go on date nights to go watch movie. Their date nights is going to the bar, going out doing stuff that you and
Normal
I don't
people
do.
Yeah. Right. So are you calling us losers or something?
No, I'm not calling us losers at all. We're just not normies. That's not losing. Why would that be
okay?
Losing?
All right, I'll take that. I'll take that. No, we're junkies. We're not normies. You're right.
My fucking collection over there is winning, man. Fuck that shit. Anyway, one of the ladies that I work with is like, yeah, that movie looks like a movie that I'd go see. That's what they're targeting, and they're not targeting us. That's what the thing that I've been trying to tell to us junkies for a long time. The movie companies, they are making this stuff because it is a project that they're going to get them money. They're going to pull people in who like stuff like this, but they are trying to pull in the majority who are normies. That's not us. We're not the majority when it comes to this stuff. Now, because Marvel has been doing great for the last, years or whatnot, more people who would not have watched those movies back in the day are watching movies and consistently watching those movies now. But they're trying to get people in like that woman who I was talking about, who says, I probably would go see that movie. It looks like a movie I want to go see. And that's why they're doing this. Because now I'm hearing they're going to do a Lex Luthor movie, or they're talking about doing a Lex Luthor movie.
I'll get to that later. I'll get to that part later. So, Yeah, I'll get to that part later because that is something I do want to bring up. But I'm gonna pivot to GQ because he had when he and I and Megashawn and Super Nerd went to go see it on Saturday. He had a surprising reaction to the film in my view. So I'll let him have say his take on it.
Well, honestly, the movie could have been better in a lot of ways. Slow burn, I don't really mind that in some instances, but with this one, it's like their slow burn was constantly rehashing the same moments and same psychoses over and over again. So that was kind of boring. The Joker, as Dido said, did not really truly appear until the final half an hour of the film. To me, like, okay, for example, take Deadpool, for example. Got an R rating. The action, the content, the everything in that movie earned that R rating. That movie, with the exception of what they did with Once Upon a Deadpool, you can't do a PG-13 Deadpool and it be authentic. They just did that as kind of a parody of its own self and to make a little bit extra money. That Joker film, if you took one scene out of it, or at least changed some of the camera angles, or just changed a little bit of it, or cut it down a little bit, that film actually, for me, was a PG-13 movie. Regardless of language, granted, you throw enough F-bombs in there, you automatically get an R rating. But content-wise, what I saw on screen did not earn an R rating in my mind, and especially considering that character. Dido, matter of fact, in our Culture Junkies Facebook discussion group, posted one of my favorite scenes out of Batman Returns, the animated Batman Returns movie that they did, in which the Joker basically kills his therapist and like gasses an entire room of people in the studio audience. Yeah. So it's just like, yes, he didn't have the means to do it in this particular film, but damn it, you could have at least gave me something along those lines to truly earn that R rating. Because it's like, you have a character who in the comics has skinned a man alive and sent him out on stage to perform at a comedy club. You have a character who has bombed a schoolroom full of children. You have a character who has beaten a teenager to death with a crowbar.
Mm-hmm.
And you give me an R-rated film and he gets a body count of 7 people, 2 of which are very pretty minor and one all completely off screen. I'm like, no, dude. And I think that's what the problem I had with that was. It was like, you give me one of the most violent comic book characters in all of history. You finally give him an R rating, and this is what you give me. And it's just like, and I think that disappointed me. And it wasn't even an expectation thing. It was just you guys could have easily done better. And like you guys have said, you take a couple of things out. This movie wasn't even about the Joker in that sense. You could just say, okay, this is some crazy dude. And here's your film, Warner Brothers, no DC Comics, no nothing. So, and I think that's what my problem was with this film overall. It's just like you took that chance basically, and then you didn't go all the way with it. And then for this character, to me, it's like, man, you give him an R rating, I want bodies dropping everywhere. I want the audience cringing at the sight of what this man is doing, and I got none of that with this film. And even the gun thing, it's like, dude, that's why I like Heath Ledger's Joker. He literally broke down why he uses a knife to kill people, because it's more of an intimate kill. You get to savor all the little, emotions and stuff. This Joker shot most of his victims. I'm like, okay, well, here we go.
Right.
So,
and
that was my problem with it overall.
Okay. And that's fair. So I'm not gonna belabor the point and give my take, because you can kind of read my take on the review that I'm getting ready to post into the chat. Fallen Marvel, you didn't see this movie, or you're not in a rush to see this movie, and why is that?
Honestly, when it comes down to it, I'll say this: as I've gotten older, I've essentially liked the Joker character less and less. So it's needless to say, I'm not a fan of the Joker character. So that's number one. Number two, over the years, I've become more of a fan of the portrayals of Joker rather than the Joker himself. So it's not to say that I think Joaquin Phoenix wouldn't bring something different to the character, because he's a phenomenal actor, obviously, but at the same token, I know based on initial reactions I've seen to the movie and how the movie's been described, and it's definitely been described more as a dramatic character piece, which I assumed it would be after seeing the trailer. And the thing is, if I'm going to the movie theater, I go to theaters for a fun ride. I paid X amount of money to sit there for maybe 2 hours. I want to have fun when I pay my money to see a movie. So I already know that this is a movie that I'm not necessarily going to have fun with. And I may eventually see it like at a matinee. Essentially, it's just that based on the subject matter and so forth, it's usually not my go-to to see in theaters. So I may see it just because, it is technically comic book related and whatnot, and I just want to see how they go about it. But from what I've been hearing, it's not necessarily something new that they've brought to the table as a cause to as far as the subject with the character, descending into madness, because it's not like we haven't had those already.
Oh, we've seen that plenty of times before. Like
Right.
we've mentioned before, Falling Down. We've seen Taxi Driver, and which this movie borrowed heavily from. So
and that's one of the things I've been hearing is that because even then it's like Scorsese was attached to the movie at one point, so it really is like a no-brainer that somebody is going to start somebody took cues from Taxi Driver, and that's
Wait, hold on. So we literally just got we could have gotten Martin Scorsese's Joker.
Yeah.
I don't think given his comments about which we'll touch on a little bit. Given his comments on the comic book movie genre, I don't think that was very likely to happen.
That's not said about. It's like, get your head out of your ass.
Yeah,
right?
Let's not jump the gun. We'll talk about it in a minute. So based on the movie is killing it in the theaters. It already beat it already beat Venom's October record, which was set last year, but it already almost grossed in its first weekend the entire run of Dark Phoenix, its entire box office take, which is that's so sad.
You know what's sad?
So sad.
No, go ahead.
But what's sad about that is that number one, I predicted that Dark Phoenix was going to bomb because nobody was interested in seeing
Everybody
it.
did.
The thing is that what I find funny, I recently just picked up Spider-Man Far From Home, steelbook from Best Buy. And it's kind of sad because the steelbook for Dark Phoenix looks so good. It's just bad that it's attached to such a
I know, right?
basic ass movie.
I know, right? It's like false advertising, poor packaging. Poor packaging.
But it's just
we got some good comments. We got some good comments in the chat, especially from like Lavelle Davis Sr. He's like, DC always shooting themselves in the foot, ruining what could be dope movies. Earlier he said, if you're gonna do a Joker movie, do a Joker movie, not this crap that we've been given.
And you know what? Wait 1 second, Kenny. Just to kind of piggyback off of that. Now, with that being said, and with it outperforming Venom, now granted, we are unfortunately getting a sequel, and that movie is supposed to feature Carnage. Now, if that movie is not rated R, that movie is going to automatically be terrible.
You know it's not.
Sorry.
You know it's not. You know it's not. You know it's not.
I know it ain't. That's why I know it's automatically going to be terrible.
And kind of echoing my thoughts on the film, Hand of Omega says, I'm not in a rush to see it because it's not a true comic book movie. It's just appropriating comic book characters to tell us drama story, which is largely what I was left with when I came out of it. Yeah, which was largely what I was left with. So
doesn't mean it's not good to watch movie though.
Right. So moving right along to the next part of it. So Warner Brothers is already loving the reception to Joker. And the rumors are saying that Warner Brothers is planning similar spin-offs. But get this, they're all similar spin-offs of Batman villains. Like, so the rumor is that there's a Two-Face movie in the works. There's a Poison Ivy movie in the works.
Come on. Oh,
I wouldn't be surprised if there was a ventriloquist movie in the works at some point.
We do not need solos for everybody in Batman's Rose Gallery.
Hey, this is what they're trying to do.
Look, see, this is why Warner Brothers gets on my nerves at every waking moment. It's like, look, okay, you had a good movie. It doesn't mean you need to make a string of the same concept with every little thing because you guys have made money off Batman in the past. Stop that. You do not have to keep it. It's like they just still have not learned that they don't have to keep piggybacking off of Batman to make money.
Here's my other thing real quick. I'm getting tired of movies claiming these little baby BS records. Ooh, the biggest opening in October. So call me back when you've made like the highest grossing movie of all time, or call me back when you've made like $1 billion. You know what I'm saying? It's just like
they've been trying to get W's anyway.
I get these are like, selling points, but come on now.
And again, these are like participation trophies on the highest possible like ranking.
For real though.
Like, dude, it's like I'm sorry, you bring a movie out called Joker, people are gonna go see it just out of curiosity or ties to the character or see how it's done, especially with it being R-rated and what R ratings for things mean nowadays versus what they used to be back in the day. But it's like come on, like, ooh, highest grossing movie on a Monday. Movies don't even normally come out on Monday. That's not a hard thing to do if you bring a movie out on Monday. It's like that stuff like that gets so much. It's like, stop it. Call me back in a month when this movie is done in a month and let me know what it's making. But highest grossing.
Honestly, I don't even think it's gonna last a month. It'll probably last a month. Yeah,
it's going to last because its only real competition is going to be Maleficent 2, and that's not really truly competition. That's just for people that have interest in that particular character. And I think there's something else coming out. I don't remember what it was, but
Gemini Man.
Thank you. That actually might knock it off in first place right off the bat. Because Will Smith is
Gemini Man?
Yeah. Will Smith has that star power still, man. It's still, outside of
and it honestly looks like a really pretty interesting movie. I'll be honest. I was kind of surprised.
As long as it ain't After Earth, then we'll be all right.
Oh, Jesus, man. Why'd you have to invoke that?
As long as we don't get another After Earth, then I think we good.
Well, I'm pretty sure he's learned after.
I don't know. Has he?
Just don't work with Shyamalan no more. The period. Do not work with Shyamalan at all.
He hasn't had bad choices since then.
But wait a minute. Are you telling me?
Not necessarily like I'm saying like he hasn't had any like god awful bad choices since After Earth.
I don't know. Wild Wild West still covers a lot of ground.
I said after. I said after, not before.
Wild Wild West has a long reach, man. Look, Wild Wild West over Matrix. Wild Wild West over Matrix has a long reach. A really long reach.
Hey, who was he supposed to be in the Matrix like back in the day?
He was supposed to be Neo.
He was supposed to be Neo.
Oh man.
And again, I've seen he did a video about why he chose it and and was different. And I will respect his choice. It is what it is. But
it's the wrong damn decision.
It's
wrong damn decision.
Yeah, dude.
He'd be like, should have been like Nick Fury. Should have been like Nick Fury in the Avengers. He's like,
and here's the thing: maybe he wouldn't have worked for the role. Maybe he honestly, at the time, whatever he was going through in life, or just at his particular stage in acting, he might not have worked, and it might not have ever been a trilogy. It might have just ended at the first movie, and boom, nothing. Yeah. So who knows? Yeah. Maybe we all dodged that bullet, with good old bullet time.
I think we did, because I can't imagine Will Smith doing like what Keanu Reeves did with Neo. I just
exactly. But here's the thing: like Dido says, in an alternate universe, Tom Selleck is Indiana Jones. So
this is true. This is very true.
It's like, and the worst part is, part of me actually wants to see that.
Me too.
Me too.
You know what I'm saying? Just a little part of me just wants to see just how weird that would be, man. Just
Me too.
like some of them alternate choices, man.
Yeah.
Oh my
We can do
goodness.
deep fakes.
Yeah. Oh, the deep fakes. That would have been dope.
Deep
Yes.
the whole movie. Deep fake the whole movie and kind of match their voice tone to kind of that would be hilarious.
Deep fake is starting to scare me. Seriously.
Yo, man,
been scary.
You see that? Did you see that Jim Carrey, Jack Nicholson one that they did for The Shining?
That freaked me out.
Yeah, them deep fakes them deep fakes are getting a little bit too ridiculous. But
for real, that really looked like him.
Yeah, and thing is, going back on topic, it's even with with the Joker thing and then them trying to do this string of villain movies. It's like, didn't y'all learn your lesson from Gotham? There is a particular reason why the villains are so great. It's because of how Batman deals with them on their other different levels and individual bases.
Yes,
that's why they work. It's like a lot of Batman's villains in some weird, crazy way are mirror images of some parts of Batman's psychosis and personality and his whole psychological makeup. We all know Batman and Joker are like almost basically mirror images of each other in their own twisted way. But like Two-Face is his hard, justice, right from wrong, side of things taken to the nth degree. Poison Ivy, and she's a femme fatale, just like Catwoman, femme fatale. So that's not necessarily, Batman don't go around dressed around in drag or nothing. But Riddler is his intellectual, equal to a certain extent. It's like stuff like that is why they work. His rogues gallery is great because of the fact that it's so many different facets of him. Taking him out of the equation it's like, okay, what are you doing? Like, this is boring.
And that's why we're getting a Pennyworth TV show, because they didn't learn their lessons with Gotham.
No, they didn't, man.
No, they
clearly did not.
About freaking Alfred.
Yeah, and here's the other thing. They're killing their timeline. Granted, this Joker movie is supposed to be a standalone and not connected, but damn it, if you're going to give me a particular date and time, I'm going to start aging this particular character and putting the ages together. And this Joker was about what, 30-ish? Somewhere in there?
Maybe.
I almost would say he was. 30s. Well, wait. Okay, let me think about this now. In the story, they did say something about.
Don't go too far into detail.
I'm not gonna go too far.
Just ballpark it. He was probably
I'm
in his
gonna
30s.
ballpark it.
Yeah,
so
he was at least in his 30s.
Yeah, they said
late 30s. Late 30s.
I wouldn't say late 30s because they said she worked for Wayne 30 years ago.
Right.
So,
right.
He has to be in his early 30s or late 20s just because.
Yeah. So no, I'd say late 30s. Right,
well,
late 30s.
Quite hard on him. He's mid 30s. This is put him either mid to early.
That's being
30s.
Generous, but okay, whatever.
So been quite hard on my man, wasn't it?
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. But just to give it,
for real. Hey man, you see him dragging on them cigarettes? Of course, life was hard on him.
I got you on that. And Joaquin Phoenix, I guess I don't know if he's a method actor or what the deal is, but
yes,
dude,
very much a method
very
actor.
much
We get that you were skinny. But damn it, we didn't need to see that you were skinny 60 to 70% of the time in this freaking film. It was like, dude, how many times are you gonna show this? How many times are you gonna show this? This is getting dumb.
Back is popping out. What is going on?
Right. I'm like, dude, we get it. You're skinny. Moving on. It's just like, come on. But no, going back to this, there's a story point that puts this film in a very specific year. So if Joker is in his 30s, Bruce Wayne, spoiler, who's in the movie a little bit, is probably what, 8 or 9 years old, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
this man be geriatric. He'd be geriatric.
Yes.
By the time he
very much so.
Yes.
So it's just like, y'all got to stop doing that, man. That's what gets on my nerves. That's why the Gotham show, when they first brought it out, I'm just like, oh my god, you're really what? Okay.
That's what I'm saying. After
all of his villains,
all of his villains, one by one, came onto the show.
His age and whatnot are just showing up. I'm like, okay,
and I kid you not,
whatever.
like when they started doing that, I abandoned the show. I pulled the ripcord. I was out.
And again,
it was like
I own the entire series on Blu-ray, and I've watched it all.
But did you?
Dude,
poor man. You have a complex. You got to complete even the worst stuff, don't you?
Dude, I'm a completionist, man.
Yes, you are. I feel so bad for you because some things just shouldn't be in your collection.
I mean,
something-
he had to do what he had to do.
Super
He had
I
to-
guess. I guess.
Actually, I actually don't have that upgraded. I have that only on VHS. That's
Which
it.
one is that?
Super Mario Brothers.
Oh, Super Mario Brothers. Yeah,
I have that
okay.
only on
Super
VHS.
Show or
But that's
or
only
the
because they
movie?
haven't. Have they brought out a Blu-ray of that?
Yeah, they did. They
yeah,
brought out
they
a
have.
Blu-ray
Okay,
and a dang Dido looking like the forehead of security over there, man.
Which is so weird because on my screen you can see way more of me. I don't know what
Well,
the heck
hey, you might have to either sit up
You
or
get
lower
that
your
fixed,
camera
man.
a little bit. One of the two.
Yeah,
I mean,
you have to get that fixed a little bit, or
You over
boost
there-
that chair up
you
a
over there
little bit.
looking like
look at the picture in the freaking.
No, I see. I got you. It's just it's hilarious though. I'm just saying.
I'm all forehead.
Yeah, there you go. That's better.
It's like
better.
I know you're taller than that, but damn.
Yeah,
Shrinking down.
There you go. We getting old, I guess.
yeah. I guess.
Mhm.
All right. So speaking of which, we touched on it a little bit earlier. Martin Scorsese, who we alluded to, has a tangential connection to the Joker film. Kind of went in on Marvel flicks with his take, saying that Marvel films aren't real cinema. And today Jennifer Aniston kind of tried to back up his comments by saying that it's Marvel's fault that some Oscar-worthy actors are not getting recognition for some of their awards by being in better films. The Marvel films are taking them away from better films where they can get awards. So, what do you think about Scorsese's take on the Marvel Cinematic Universe? Do you agree, or do you think this is just a crotchety old man that just doesn't like new things?
I'm gonna let my compatriots go first because this is gonna be fun.
Fallen Marvel, you go first.
Well, you know what that sounds like to me? Get off my lawn, you damn kids.
Mhm.
That's what it sounds like to me. I'm sorry. Like, look, Scorsese comes from old school hard knocks of cinema. Of course, he is not really going to dig the new wave of popularity when it comes to comic book films because, hey, it's easy to bash on what's popular right now. Like, I've had quite a few discussions with a lot of people the past few days concerning this, but it's just the simple fact that, like, hey, at one point it was westerns. After that, it was action movies from like the late 70s all the way up into the late 90s. That transition into comic book cinema, which is also action, not much has changed. It's just the level of it has gotten higher. And it's like, on one hand, I kind of try to get what they're trying to say, but at the same time, there's still work out there for actors. Like, you're trying to make it seem like all the acting jobs have dried up. Like,
Right.
like, no, there's still opportunities out there. Like, you got Netflix, you got Hulu, you got Amazon. On top of that, Apple's trying to come through with their stuff. And there's still Hollywood productions coming down the pike. There are jobs out there. Now, is it because you're not necessarily getting some of said jobs? I don't know, but because it's kind of funny, because one of the things that she was quoted as saying is, it's not verbatim, but it was like along the lines of no one offering her like work that she's not being offered and stuff that she's not wanting to take. And I'm just like, sounds like sour grapes to me. Sorry. Because Gwyneth Paltrow may have said that she was dumb, but she ain't had no problem taking them MCU checks. So that's all I got to say about that.
You basically said everything that I was going to say, because it's basically the exact same thing. It's kind of like you got this old ass man thinking like, oh, it's not cinema. And I was like, you know what? You can call it what you want. It's a movie. It's out there to entertain somebody. It's out there to tell a story. And that's what movies do. Some do it better than others, and some don't. You know what it could be a tribute to? Somebody can go to McDonald's. And there's people out there that fucking love McDonald's. The chicken nuggets when their french fries are hot. You know, you got some good-ass hamburgers. The shit is good. Some people only want to go to Ruth Chris. No, fuck you. You just want to go to Ruth Chris. It's fine and dandy. You want to have a steak all the time, but don't be saying that McDonald's is not food. Don't be saying that Coney Islands are not food. Don't be saying that whatever is not. It's food. It's out there to nourish somebody. Like, these are out there to entertain certain people, and those who are being entertained by it like it. Some people like your films. There's a lot of people. You do good films. You do good work. You know, and they're not Scorsese films. They're not out there like what did Mike Bison say? You know, about
Martin Scorsese's Transformers.
Yeah, it's like that's what it's about. So it's like, get off your goddamn high horse and realize that you make movies. You are a freaking Wolfgang Puck. You're a goddamn Gordon Ramsay. Okay, that's fine and dandy. I don't think Marvel movies are McDonald's by all means, not at all. But you know, I'm not even going to try to compare them to Martin Scorsese.
It's easy. It's easy food to eat.
Yeah, it's something I would enjoy. You know.
Oh, okay.
So I mean,
GQ, I want you to take this one. So Christina Joy Ellerby made mention about, you know, when you think of the angles and emotion-driven content, that it's not there for Marvel films. Do you agree with that take?
All right, Christina, I'm gonna have to put you up on one thing that actually really breaks down, like, especially for Black Panther. I can't think of his name right now. You know who I'm talking about, the director of that film.
Ryan Coogler.
Thank you. Ryan Coogler did an entire breakdown of one of the scenes from that film, and it really goes to show, like, the level of thought he put into it. And it was an action scene, actually. And it goes to show the level of thought he put into just that one scene, from a cinematography standpoint, angle standpoint, artistic, everything you mentioned. He broke it down, and everything had, like, real specific meaning. One of the key takeaways from it was, if you look at that scene, it was the scene where Okoye, of course, T'Challa, and what's the other girl's name that played by Lupita? No, Lupita's character. Nakia. Yeah, they go into that casino. If you notice in that scene, he specifically on purpose had just those three dressed in the particular colors that they're wearing. T'Challa's wearing all black. Okoye was wearing all red, and Nakia was wearing green. African flag. They were the only ones wearing that color in that entire scene, and that was done to, you know, draw attention to them. All the background players were just the background players. So that's just one little small nugget of it, and that goes to, that's something that he did. It's easy for a lot of people to say that quote unquote popcorn movies or summer movies are, you know, they're shallow and there's not much depth to them. Yeah, to the untrained eye, sure. Easily. Yeah, everybody can always say that. But when you really, you know, sit down, watch some of these things, drill down into them, there's a lot more depth there than people want to give them credit for. And this goes even on the DC side of things too. DC, some of the different directors there, they put a lot of stuff into those films that, yeah, the average person probably ain't gonna pick up on it. But if you sit there and just really pay attention to how things are framed, to what people are wearing, to the, you know, distance between hero and villain or whatever it may be in a particular shot, there's a lot of untold stuff being just told right there on the screen, and you just got to look for it. So a lot of people miss stuff like that, and it's funny to see Martin Scorsese. Real quick, it's funny to see Martin Scorsese, who has been around Hollywood for as long as he has, and who I think Lavelle said it. He's basically done mainly gangster movies. It's like, how are you going to talk down about a particular, especially genre film? Because look, Scorsese, your genre is hitmen and the mob and all that other sort of thing, more or less. So how are you going to talk down to one other genre that's, you know, it's not your genre? And let's be real, if you're just going to just stick with the Marvel side of things, they've jumped a lot of genres. They've gone from straight pure action to spy, intrigue and thriller to heist movie
movies.
to comedy. They've done it all.
Political
for him to
thrillers,
right? For him to say, yeah, and horror is coming. So it's like for him to sit there and try to poo-poo those films. It's like, let's be real honest here. Who does he work with a lot? Of Warner Brothers, or does he work with I think he works with Warner Brothers a lot.
I'm trying to remember that movie a lot for Warner Brothers.
I'm trying to remember that movie he did with Nicholson and DiCaprio and Mark Wahlberg.
Oh, The Departed?
The Departed?
Yeah, The Departed. I think
that was New Line Cinema.
I got it sitting over there. I just can't see the studio from here.
Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers owns New Line Cinema.
There you go. So it's like, if not for some of these comic book movies, and granted, back then it would have been your Dark Knight and your Dark Knight Rises and Batman Begins and that sort of thing. If not for those big, huge tentpole films that in the summer come out and make $1 billion and do their thing, your little art house movies and shit that you want to do on your side, these particular production houses wouldn't have the money to give to you to do these films without these comic book movies coming in and knocking it out the park. Disney is a different story. Let's just be 100% upfront on that. Disney doesn't necessarily need. It helps, but they don't necessarily need big, huge tentpoles to get their. They're gonna release what they want to release because that's just who they are. But all these other studios, they need these big, action, blockbuster summer, get them, get butts in the seats movies to do the rest of these artsy films that they want to get done. So F you if you really are that down on the movies that are putting the bread in your bank to get your shit done.
Oh, amen. He stepped off the pulpit now. The preacher's done with his sermon. All right. So it's an interesting take that you just had there. I like what you said about him poo-pooing, kind of, or for lack of a better term, biting the hand that feeds him, because a lot of the movies that he prefers to make are fueled by the movies that Marvel churns out on a regular basis. So, but you also brought up something that I couldn't let go by. So you said something, even in DC films, there's a lot of really interesting cinematography, video angles, emotional content, and things that are hidden within the scenes. Are you by chance trying to prop up LGZ's argument that BVS was great and that all those other people saying that BVS was way smarter than the average people gave it credit for? Is that what you're doing?
No. Again, I'm not saying just okay. BVS. A lot of people try to say the Martha thing was Bruce realizing that he became, the alien in this particular sense, driven by his passion, rage, and emotion, and blah blah blah, and not looking at Clark as a human. A lot of people like to make that argument, and that's fine. The delivery in the scene was stupid. It literally became save Martha. It's like, dude, every black person in this daggone chat, every black person on this panel, every black person in the chat, everybody black person everywhere around the world knows you call your mom by her first name, you're gonna get smacked. Period. Yep. So the delivery was dumb. I don't care what anybody says. To this, I will go to my grave on this. Save Martha was the dumbest way for him to say, save my mom.
Yes, it was.
Or, you're letting them kill my mom. That was, period. I don't care what nobody says. And this whole tie-in of Martha Wayne. Dude, had Bruce's mom been named Teresa, Superman would have been screwed right now. So I don't want to hear
Save Teresa.
I don't want to hear anything else on that, period. Straight up.
Yeah.
But okay, but for real. So yes, but the thing is, going back to some of the stuff, the setups in that film, the cinematography, some of the things they did were really cool. It's just the whole face-off scene and the way they staged it.
Snyder's bread and butter, though, man. That is Snyder's bread and butter.
Snyder is a very visual dude. That's his thing. He's really good at that. Storytelling, not so much. But some of his stuff looked really good. Aquaman, I will give them all the props in the world for that trench dive sequence. Yes. When they first jumped off that boat and they pulled to that super wide, that looked great. That showed you just how dire their situation was. It was like, if you'd have just showed it up all nice and tight and just showed a whole bunch of them just flooding the screen, it would have looked like trash. Going back, no, there's hundreds of these things coming after them right now, and they've got to dive deep to get away. That was cool. So again, some of these different directors, they bring in some really, really great stuff. And just some of it just goes over the heads. And like I said, Christine, I'm not necessarily talking about you because, again, you and I both do videography. I'm not talking about you in that regard. I'm just saying the average moviegoer going in, bought their popcorn, got their Twizzlers and they big, huge, vat of pop. Most of them they just trying to be entertained. That's all they care about. They ain't necessarily looking at some of that stuff in the theater. Some of them might dig deep when they get it on the Blu-ray at home, but I'm sorry, that's part of the reason most of these action films, I go see them in IMAX or biggest possible screen because I want to get all of that. I want to be plastered in my face, biggest possible screen I can get because I want to see it all, and especially the main ones that I had to see in the biggest in Dido, and all of y'all know the one we go to when we need to go see a big movie, we go to the IMAX for the Imagine.
IMAX.
The main reason I wanted to hit that theater, not only just because it's the biggest screen in the state, it's also because both of those films were filmed in IMAX all the way through. That to me was like, nah, I want to see everything that they had in their vision. I want to be able to see it. I don't want nothing cut off the sides. I don't want nothing cut off the top. I want all of it. That's why seeing what was it, Hateful Eight and 70 millimeter was awesome because that was the director's full vision right there on the screen. Everything that he wanted to be in the screen was there. Nothing was cut off. Nothing was had to be skimped here or there on the edges. No, all of it. So that's part of why, certain films, they're going to get top dollar from me because I want to see everything. Some other films, some of the smaller things, I will, like Dido says, dude, I'll go see it at the Star for $5. I don't care, whatever. But certain films, they get that respect of, I want to see it all. I want to see everything you had in mind, everything you was looking through the lens and you wanted to show. So that's just me. And Tony Young, 100% right. 82% of that was a lot of Jesus symbolism for Batman v Superman.
That's like one of the criticisms I have for that movie. But like otherwise, like you said, Zack Snyder is a very visionary type of guy. He has very good shots. Now, the only thing I will say in regards to probably the Nolan trilogy, I would say that like Nolan, I would say like in his films, he probably had arguably like the best aerial shots like ever filmed in those movies to me. Like he did really good aerial shots. So, and it's like that was like one of the things that I noticed watching Dark Knight trilogy and stuff, aside from all the other like technical aspects of the movie. Like yes, all three movies look gorgeous and stuff like that. But once again, it's still a comic book movie at the end of the day. And whatever the case may be, and it's not like it's not like folks aren't experimenting with certain stuff like that on the MCU side either. I mean, the de-aging, the increase of special effects, and so on and so forth. Like, it messed me up when I found out that the quantum suits in Endgame weren't even real. Like, that threw me off. Like, this whole time, I thought those was like actually really real design outfits. All of the quantum suits were CGI the entire time. It's like, hey, it's like it's crazy, but it's like everybody I think gets a chance to experiment in their own way. Like obviously you have those people who stand out like Nolan and that make really good looking movies, and from a visual and a writing concept perspective, you got Zack Snyder, who's a good visionary director, not so much storytelling as we already said, and so on and so forth. Then you got the Russos, who know how to tell a good like orchestrated story. They've proven that more than once. It's the reason why they took the helm after Winter Soldier. It's like they I mean, if you really think about it, the Russos kind of single-handedly sort of like changed the game for MCU when Winter Soldier came out. That's still regarded as like the best movie they've ever made. So it's like there's more to most movies than we see. It's not like, let's say, The Room, The Fanatic, and all the other like art house type movies that they come out with but are like drastically terrible. Like it's like look, if it comes out in the theater and people want to see it, it's cinema, good or bad. That's just the way it is.
Agreed.
It depends on your perspective of what you like. That's all what it comes down to.
Hold on, how the hell did Omega miss that little tidbit? talking about how old Cap got back without a quantum suit. Like, he did it the old-fashioned way. He lived life. Like, come on, man. Really?
That man went home and took that suit off and lived the rest of his life. That's how.
Right. He hit that bad boy. Matter of fact, you saw how in Far From Home, Peter had to actually keep his suit charged. So those nanites probably just died, eventually anyway, because he ain't have no access to no charger for those things.
So he's making the argument that the Russos confirmed that he went to an alternate timeline. He didn't actually go to their timelines past, which I don't know if that type of I don't know if physics work that way, but I mean, I'm not. This is all metaphysical anyway.
What are we asking?
He's asking, okay. How did old Cap live to the present when he went to an alternate timeline? How did he get back without the Q suit? Where did he get the shield from? Well, I mean, come on. You can make
who says he didn't necessarily go back to our timeline?
Right.
He could have easily just been like, okay, you got what was it? He got the PIM particles and the Tesseract from further back in 1940. He got the scepter and the just the scepter. No, I'm sorry, the scepter and the time stone from the Avengers timeline. Who's to say the Avengers timeline isn't the current timeline and the one that he essentially went back to and lived from, or went back to 1940 and lived from there? Because that's basically what he did, I think, is he went back to 1940 with Peggy. It was like, oh, hell yeah, let's go. And just lived out his life with her. So
I mean, with them, I think with him being anchored,
could you blame him? Jesus.
I mean, honestly,
it was awesome.
Of course, like the only thing that I would say, like as far as the speculation, the fact that he was essentially anchored to like the ongoing timeline is probably why he's essentially was able to still be there, because it's like the thing was still anchored to like whatever timeline that they were going to go back to, regardless of where they went. So. That could also be a thing too. It's like with the way he was, basically the way he arrived or whatever, still made sure that he was in that timeline. So anything that happened outside of them, that just branches off into something else, like i.e. Loki escaping with the Tesseract. So.
Okay, so now Han wants to know how to return the gems back into the things they were disguised as. Who knows? Again, you're going into the rabbit hole of time travel. So there's the issue. You're running into, they didn't write that. Nobody really truly needs to answer it because there's never going to be a movie that discusses it.
Nor do we really need to.
Yep.
It's just one of those things. It's like it's not like we haven't left things up to the imagination before in the past anyway. This is just another one of those things.
Exactly. Gian asked the question, the way the ancient one explained is if you change anything, it creates a new timeline. So even though they returned the gems to their time, it still created a new one. No, that's not what it was. Bruce basically countered her thought with that. They killed the Back to the Future version of time travel, where Biff got the almanac and just screwed off a whole different timeline, and he was in charge and blah, blah, blah. They turned it into out of this timeline, and yes, it's going to branch off a different timeline. However, you came right back and gave it right back to me at the exact moment you took it, so it basically never left. So this timeline just keeps skirting on it the same way it was going to unfold, essentially. Again, you always run into the, okay, well, damn it, Thanos is going to come back again, or Thanos is still around, or what. Okay, fine, that's fine. The whole point of the movie was to get everybody back, and Iron Man's going to die, and Cap's going to get old, and there you go. There's your movie. Black Widow's going to die. So, again, it's one of those, you will kill yourself trying to answer all the loose ends in a time travel movie, because they purposely don't leave all of the answered questions, because, damn it, they got other movies they're about to make. Answer me how Black Widow is coming back for her movie. It's a prequel. It's in between a particular time frame. Let's go. So like, it's it is what it is. And I can't wait to see the Loki show because that man, he grabbed that Tesseract and put himself. He was like, I'm going right to Disney Plus. Let's go. He was like, well done. He grabbed that cube like Disney Plus. Here I come. Like it's on 8 episodes. Yeah. Hold on. Did you guys hear the budget that they have for their standalone shows?
Yeah, we talked about it last week, but it's worth reiterating. 25 million. It's crazy.
Man, can you imagine a Star Trek episode with 25 million to play around with? Back when Paramount was doing $1 million an episode for Star Trek: The Next Generation. That was unheard of. That was like, what?
Hey,
$1 million?
Honestly,
God dang, that's a lot of money.
I ain't gonna lie. I think that's what a lot of people's problem with Discovery is that the production values on it, and it's supposed to be set 10 years before the original series. They're like, it didn't look like that in the 60s. It looks better than the 60s. I'm like, logic tells you that they have modern technology now. Of course it's going to look better. You think they're purposely going to make it look as bad as it did in the 60s? Come on.
Exactly.
All
I can say is it's just, I don't know, but dude, $25 million an episode. That's crazy. Dude, that's why they do not need to worry about tentpole movies. If they could just throw $25 million at an episode, because how many shows do they have? I'm not saying every show is going to get that. Let's just be real.
Shit, man. I think I've lost count. Let's see. Loki, Falcon and Winter Soldier, WandaVision, She-Hulk,
Hawkeye, Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Yep. She-Hulk
5.
What If doesn't count necessarily because it's animated, so we're just gonna leave that one.
Okay, all right. So What If doesn't count? Fine.
Right. So because who knows what that budget? It ain't gonna be 25 million of show for that. That'd be crazy.
Show, but they said Moon Knight.
Did they say Moon Knight?
And then hold on. Is now Feige's supposed to be dipping his toes into Star Wars at some point? So does that mean he's partially in the Mandalorian? Maybe.
I don't know. But I thought it was a brand new Star Wars project. In a movie at that.
Whatever. Either way it goes, though.
Like it was a film project, more than likely.
Either way it goes, if that 25 million budget bleeds over into Star Wars 2, could you imagine a $25 million an episode Star Wars show? Mm-hmm. Oh my God.
Man.
Yeah, I can't wait for Mandalorian. It's gonna be great. What was that deal again? I'm gonna need you to send that to me so I can sign up for Disney Plus. I haven't done it yet, so I'm gonna go ahead.
It's on Facebook. It's gonna come through your timeline more than likely because we talk about it enough.
I'm signing up.
Your phone is spying on you.
What is it? We got 4 weeks.
It's called the Founders Circle or something like that. So
we got basically 4 weeks until that thing drops. Like. I can't wait. Yeah. Like, for real. I can't wait.
We're going to definitely have to do a show about that. But no, the funny thing is, though, it's not even 25 minutes. Just sitting back thinking, like, okay, you have $25 million to spend on. And essentially, and this is streaming. So you almost get your full hour if it's an hour show. You might get, like, maybe a 5-minute commercial break-ish or even less. It might be a full 58:30. Who knows? But either way it goes, you got $25 million to spend on 60 minutes worth of content. That's insane. I'm sure actor salaries and whatnot are in there. But let's just be real. Tom Hiddleston, let's do the Loki show, just on the low end, because it's just mainly Tom Hiddleston's show. So Tom Hiddleston is going to get obviously the bulk of, some of that money. So let's just say out of what is it, 8 episode, I think, run for him. Potentially something like that they said.
Probably.
So let's just cut his, and let's just say he gets 25% of the budget. Let's just throw that number out there. So for all 8 episodes, all that, $200 million, he's going to get 25%. So he's going to right off the bat, he's going to get, like $50 million. Let's just say that's what he's going to get. We don't know, but whatever. So he gets about 10-ish. Well, actually, no, a little bit less. He gets he gets right around 8 million or whatever out of that 25. Let's just say that. Okay. You still have $17 million left to use on the rest of the people and whatever damn story you want to tell. That's crazy. There's movies that don't even get that much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they're just like, here you go. Yeah, 20, here you go.
Hey,
go have fun.
That's why crazy. You know why they probably doing it? Because more than likely with this streaming service, they probably have like there's probably like a caveat to where like they probably make X amount back on advertising.
Oh, again, I'm not even. You already know. I'm not worried about when it comes to making money. That company has never been a worry, ever.
Oh yeah, of course not. But like
ever.
I'm just saying to where like it's just like when you guys are making a show and they're throwing literally like 25 million an episode at it. Like, no, I don't think there's anyone to throw that much money at a show.
Let's just be real. 25 million is their concessions from one of their parks in a day. Let's just be straight
real.
up about it.
Right.
Let's just be straight up. That's the concessions money. They're just like, hey. They going around all the different. Hey, how much you make? How much you make this? How much you make today? It's tallying it up. We're going all the different concessions. Okay, tallying it. Okay, all right. So
I want to show y'all something, right?
Hold on. What you mean 14 million? We light today. What's going on? 14 million. Right. Hell no. We're supposed to be on pace for at least 20 right now. It's 12 o'clock. We've been open for 3 hours. What the hell? You know, that's just how they are, man. It's crazy. It's ridiculous.
So a picture just dropped on Twitter, and it's too awesome. I have to share it. So y'all know that the crisis is getting ready to happen, right? Pictures have been leaking because they're actively filming it right now, and we've seen some of them. But take a look at the epicness in this picture. Like for the first time, right? So you got two Supermen in this picture. You got a Flash. You got Pariah. You got I forget who Layla's playing. You got Iris. You got the Monitor. You got Elongated Man and who I think is the Atom right next to him. But look who's next to him is Black Lightning.
Okay, I got a question. Who is supposed to be looking like Dr. Doom?
He's supposed to be Pariah. Yeah, he does look like Dr. Doom. You ain't lying.
Okay, hold on. I know Black Lightning he look uncomfortable in that picture, man.
He does.
He look real uncomfortable for real, and it's not even.
He like the only dude that ain't smiling, well, besides Layla.
He up there like he just try like, and the worst part is you can see he's tall enough because you can clearly see his shoes behind the old girl. But it's like he looked like he like trying to get up on everybody's shoulders for real. Like if you didn't look down, it looked like he really just trying to get up on everybody's shoulders. Like I can't see, guys. I can't see. That's what it looks like. It's terrible.
Or he's like, I can't believe these motherfuckers making me take this picture, man. I don't want to be here with them.
Hey, paycheck is a paycheck. I don't give a damn. I'd be in that Black Lightning suit in a heartbeat and wouldn't care.
I mean, this just to me, it should like at least for the most part certify that he'll be around for a while. So
yeah. So we obviously know that they're gonna end up they're probably gonna end up consolidating into one Earth after this. So man, yeah, I have to. This is gonna be this is literally gonna be like must see TV. So Lavelle Davis Sr. says cheesy costumes ruin it for me with the CW. Now look, their budget isn't like what we were just talking about. With Disney, they ain't got that kind of disposable income. And yes, Anna Omega, she is Harbinger. Yes.
All right, hold on. Here's the thing, though, and in their defense, I think kind of what you're seeing, because again, let's just take Superman's costume for example. Now obviously it's Brandon Routh coming back. That looks more like, is that what the Kingdom Come
version?
Yeah, the Kingdom Come style. So Brandon Routh ain't as big as Kingdom Come Superman. He just ain't. Let's just be real. Most people aren't. And giving him the puffy suit does look cheesy, but if they're particularly following a particular narrative as to what that universe is going to look like, then maybe it fits. Yeah, it does look like a really cheap Halloween costume, being straight up, being real. But it's almost like, what else can they really do? Because I mean, this crossover probably is going to hit them up. How many is this supposed to be? 5 episodes?
5 episodes.
This crossover it's setting them back. This crossover probably is going to cost around $75 million.
I wouldn't doubt it. With the amount of characters that they're bringing in, the amount of characters that they're bringing back to even be involved in this.
Right. And we just talked about a series, a company that's going to throw that much money towards 3 episodes of a show. So there's no comparison. And we all know Warner Brothers, for whatever reason, as much as they try to lean on DC when, like, once or twice out of the year, they seem to treat them like the redheaded stepchild when it comes to like actually throwing some money their way and letting them do what they do. And I think that's what you're getting. And Lavelle, you're absolutely right. So a lot of the Smallville costumes look really good. They were really good reimaginings of some of the different characters. Like I like Green Arrow's costume in Smallville. Straight up, it like looked like something. Now, granted, Oliver Queen he was wealthy, but it still looked like something somebody of his age, his style would have worn as his Green Arrow costume. It looked actually really cool. Kid Flash, same thing. Like everything in Smallville. If people go back and watch Smallville actually had a lot of really interesting things they were trying to do. They just locked themselves down with the no tights, no flights rule.
Now, Lavelle Davis is saying that just because he wants that damn Superman jacket, just like you want it.
Oh, dude, no. We all know that Superman jacket is still fire. That thing is still
fire,
freaking amazing. I would not get it in red though. I'd get it in black.
That show has been off for like how long now?
It's been off for at least 15 years or more.
Something like that. It's been off that long. I still want that jacket. Both.
That jacket is fire, bro.
Red. I think they have a blue. I think they have a blue one of it too. I would get all three.
Back in the day, they only had black and red because he wore red in the show, and then they made a black one because most people want black. Let's just be
black
real.
one he wore first, and then he came out with the red one afterwards.
I thought he had the red one, and then the black one was something that came.
The black was
later.
before he actually kind of came out and was really trying to be the red streak. He was still the blur.
Because before he was kind of like doing like the whole black thing when he had the trench coat and shit. So
the long trench coat. No, that was one different. The jacket we're talking about was like a motorcycle jacket, basically. Yeah, and I think he only had the red one.
All right, he only had the red one. The black trench coat and stuff was before that. It was a black trench coat with like a white painted T-shirt or something like that.
Yeah, because I mean, again, like I said, I it's been a while since I've seen it, but I distinctly remember him having that red one, and I said, "Oh damn, it'd be sweet if they had a black one." And when you go to the website that finally brought the jacket, I was like available in red and black, and I'm like, oh well. At least you had to bring it out in black because most people ain't gonna buy red. I'm not saying people wouldn't, but I don't know. I got to double check, but I am almost 100% positive the show only had a red one, and then when they brought it out for fans to buy, they made a black one as well.
It's possible. Like it's been a while. Like, but I definitely remember that red one like off top. So yeah,
everybody does. The red one was
I do distinctly remember that. Like then, like eventually, like making a blue one. I think.
Oh, no, I don't trust Wish. Never mind. Sorry. Wish is
Wish.com.
Bro. I wish I would order from Wish.
No.
Wish is an absolute no. Don't mess it up. Damn it. Okay, they do have a blue one, like you said, but it's not. It doesn't look like it was supposed to look because it's got like the S in color. Because remember, really? the S was just emblazoned in the same color as the jacket. This is like the S in like blue and red. I'm sorry, not blue and red. This is the S in red and yellow. And then the entire jacket is blue. I don't like that. And the black one is messed up too, because now the black one is nope. They only have at least this particular site only has the red one looking like the show, and it's $109 for a large.
Yeah, Amazon has it too. I don't know if they have it.
That's what I'm looking at. But this is I don't want to give them a shout out unless they send a check of the name of the company.
There you go.
Oh, there's my black one. That looks pretty cheesy. Damn. They lost the ability to make it look sweet. Oh well, I guess not. They won't be getting that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So obviously we're gonna go ahead and get ready to wrap up the show. But I will say this: this is the month of October, and we haven't even yet started to talk about some horror related topics. So we'll have to definitely be getting to that at some point soon.
We'll be talking about that right before we do game night coming up on the 26th. If you're local, bring your $5 and your skills and your arcade stick if you have one or a controller and come on through. Information to be on the fan page. I'm scared, not the fan page, the discussion group.
Yes. All the details will be there and they'll be forthcoming. Also, if you haven't had a chance to check it out yet, and if you didn't know, we will be moving the show at some point soon to our new studio hosted where we're going to be having our fight night. We still need to come up with a really good name for that for the new headquarters. Maybe we should
Yeah, look,
do some
I
kind
saw
of
it.
poll
Looks
or something
sweet,
like that.
guys.
Thank you. It does. It's coming together. We still got to do. I think probably do like one more show there with kind of more of the structure in place. Kind of give people a preview of what the show's going to be like when we finally do actually move over there. But we need to come up with a good name. What is a good name for the station, the podcast station that we're going to be?
Anything but the Fortress of Solitude.
I know that's right. Yeah.
Might be
Not
a
the
pulse of a
Fortress of
nation
Solitude.
kind
I'm
of
sorry,
thing.
Fortress of Solitude honestly sounds like Superman's like S&M. Like
I ain't gonna lie.
lair.
I ain't gonna lie. Even as a kid, the Fortress of Solitude, I thought that was the stupidest fucking name ever. Like, I just,
It's like, if you
yeah,
wanna
it was just,
be
dumb.
alone.
Like,
if
the
you want
Fortress
to,
of Solitude,
if you
what?
if you go in there looking at your naughty magazines, whatever. The Fortress of Solitude, dude. It's like, come on, dude.
Yeah.
Shut up, dude. No.
Fortress of
Nah,
Solitude.
it
I
ain't
just,
gonna
I
be
just
no Bat
wasn't
Cave because
feeling
Bat Caves stink.
yeah.
You know, they smell bad.
The Culture
I don't know,
Cave,
we'll
I
come up
think
with-
not.
Culture Cave.
The Culture
Really?
Cave, I think not.
Really? The Junkie
Yeah.
Cave? Okay, we call it the Junkie Cave. We're gonna have SWAT outside every
I know,
damn
right?
weekend.
He's like thinking we got drug mules running in and out of there or something like that.
Right. No.
Yeah.
Tony Young, we're glad you were here the whole time as well.
Because he
brother.
wasn't here the whole time. We need to revoke his top fan.
Well,
badge.
nah, he's all right. He might have had some stuff going on.
Nothing is more important
people
than catching the stream from
People got to
jump.
work, man. People got to work.
Okay, sure. All right. Sure. All right, guys. For all of my good friends, we hope you had a really great job. Great job, Jesus. Great time watching us and give us our opinions on the Joker. We hope you had a great time. Be sure to come back next week, Wednesday, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central Time for another great episode of Culture Junkies Live. For my friends GQ, the great Dadakuji who had to step out, and Fallen Marvel, I'm Kishiro. We'll see you guys next week.
Later, folks.
Deuces.